Good morning, everyone. My name is Benji Cook, and I've been given the privilege of welcoming you all here today. I have been given the title most recently of Chairman Emeritus, which I had never heard before, but that makes me sound important, I think, and to everyone but my wife, I guess. On behalf of the current board members and the former board members and the distinguished staff, and Tony Berry, Prosperity Builders, and all the people that dreamed of this day, I'd like to welcome you all to this historic event. I got a call from former Councilman Mark Smith in 2016, and he told me they were forming a task force to research the concept of affordable housing in the town. Former Mayor Page and other members of council had selected a diverse group of residents to help qualify that problem and hopefully help our council with some solutions. As soon as I accepted that opportunity, I learned that Thomasina Stokes Marshall was among those on the task force. Most of us know Pele is the greatest soccer player to ever step on the field. We know names like Madonna and Cher and Aretha as ladies who's graced the stage. We know Reagan and Obama's who are great leaders, and they have such a notoriety that we know them by one name. And we're lucky enough to have a member of our community the same, Thomasina. To young people that are here today, I see some of you. I want to tell you, if you're not going to be that person in your life, try to find that person and learn. I want to add that the people on the task force were aligned with very key members of Mount Pleasant staff, Christy Ann, Michelle, and Lynette, who were tireless in their support of our mission on behalf of the town. And we sincerely appreciate everything that you did for us in those early years. Once we provided those results of our research to the town, we transitioned to a 501c3 nonprofit known today as Housing for All Mount Pleasant. That group carried forth the mission with a smaller and stronger group of individuals who were dedicated to that cause. And some of those folks are here today. We have Leo Russo, who watches the money. We have Chris Brooks, who wasn't afraid to ask people for money. We had Dr. Sally Jacobs, who was not afraid to say exactly what she thought in front of anyone. We miss her, and I know she's celebrating with us today in Virginia, where she's retired. Along the way, we found very talented individuals like Harry Smith, Riley Millette, Michael Meyer, Daniel Brooks, Russ Seaman, and so many others. They each brought a skill set to this effort that served us well. We've also been lucky enough to have been joined by Bobby Summers, who, as our new leader, has injected a youth and enthusiasm that will serve this mission for years to come. 3 years ago, I was at a cocktail party at my sister's house, and a friend of ours named Kelly Price was there with us that night. Kelly heard me talking about the struggles that we were experiencing in trying to get this effort in motion, and Kelly knew what to do. She spent 30 years of her life advocating and creating affordable housing solutions for her clients all over the country. It took about 15 seconds of convincing Kelly to join our group before she said yes. I can tell you without hesitation, the day she joined our group, our mission took flight. As most of you know, we lost Kelly at the age of 51 last December. Through the haze of the days that followed her passing, I got a call from her boyfriend, Alan Harris, who I'm proud to call my colleague and my friend. Alan said that the best thing he could do to honor her legacy was join our board, and that's what he's done. I want to give special thanks to two ladies who worked so hard to see this day come. Most immediately, our executive director, Denise Fugo. I've never met anyone in my life who doesn't miss details like Denise. She has a calmness and a thoroughness in all of her organization that lets you know everything's going to be all right. It's an honor to work with you, Denise. Wendy Bauer-Schmidt was hired as our development liaison when the nonprofit was formed, and she took over our operations when we lost a key member of that process. She had no specific experience in running a nonprofit, nor the tools or the resources to do any of it. But she didn't quit on us. As a member of the group since the inceptions, I'm here to tell you that there is no Gregorie Ferry Townhomes without Wendy Bauer-Schmidt. Tony Berry, My friend Tony. I remember sitting in the backyard at Heath's Knott House 25 years ago talking real estate. Excited as I am to be here on behalf of all Housing for All Mount Pleasant, I'm proud of my friend Tony for what he did. To Will Jenkinson and Allie and all the folks at Carolina One, keep doing what you're doing. This is absolutely amazing. Before I turn this over to Bobby to introduce some other key folks who are here today to celebrate with us, I want to make one final comment to the elected officials who are with us today. We are here today because you saw what was here in front of us. Density doesn't always mean high rises, doesn't always mean traffic, it doesn't always mean crowded schools. We're standing on 1.6 acres that's going to be 38 fee simple townhomes that will house 38 families. They're going to walk to Panera to have lunch, they'll walk their children to Goddard School, and they'll go across one traffic light to do their shopping. As an elected body each year, you will be given the opportunity to continue to support this mission. To Mayor Haney, Eric DeMora, and all the elected folks at the Town of Mount Pleasant staff, thank you for everything. And thank you for Tom O'Rourke for coming. He hates to come to these things. Welcome to Gregorie Ferry Landing.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bobby Summers, and welcome to the groundbreaking ceremony for Gregorie Ferry Towns. On behalf of Mount Pleasant, on behalf of Housing for All Mount Pleasant, I want to thank you for coming out and support this project. This would not have been possible without the support and advocacy from individuals like you over the past few years. I'd like to introduce you to the Board of Officers who are in attendance today. Thomasina Stokes-Marshall, our Corporate Secretary and Champion for Affordable Housing. Leo Russo, our Treasurer and Founding Executive Director, Wendy Bauerschmidt, who now serves on Housing for All Mount Pleasant Board and chairs the Qualified Improvements Committee. Thank you all for your dedicated service and support of this cause. We wouldn't be here today without you. I'd like to recognize the board members who played a key role in Housing for All, some of who are here today and a few who are not. Chris Brooks, Dr. Sally Jacobs, Harry Smith, Michael Meyer, Louise Brown, Rodley Millett, Daniel Brock, Russ Seaman, Henrietta Woodward. Thank you all for this incredible team for volunteering your time, talents, and efforts to make this dream a reality. I'd like to now introduce our fearless leader and executive director, Denise Fugo. Denise Marie Fugo has been a champion for affordable housing and attainable housing in Mount Pleasant, and we cannot be more thankful for her skills and efforts in helping us achieve our goals one project at a time. This will be the first of many. I would like to take a few moments to thank the following dignitaries and donors for making this special day possible: Mayor Haney, Eric DeMora, Kathy Landing, GM Whitley, Gary Santos, Brenda Corley, and John Greenberg from the Town of Mount Pleasant, who are in attendance today. Thank you, Tony Berry and Tammy Wilson of Prosperity Builders, for underwriting the cost of the groundbreaking ceremony and your financial support of Housing for All Mount Pleasant and these beautiful attainable homes. I would also like to thank Pleasant Places Incorporated, who donated a magnolia tree to be planted when Gregorie Ferry Towns is completed. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to the Honorable Mayor Will Haney. Take it away.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Bobby, for recognizing our council members who are here today. We have a really good turnout. And it is true, council, when we were approached with this, council had to take some votes. We had to act. And it was unanimous because this is what we wanted to see. One thing I want to mention is that I see a lot of you here who I know are veterans, or you're familiar with the military, and you know the overused, overworn cliche that the term military intelligence is an oxymoron, right, Howard? Well, for too many years, the terms affordable housing and Mount Pleasant has been an oxymoron. But we stand here today and we see the proof that when we come together as a community and we have committed volunteers and a council that's committed to this vision and staff that works to see that vision through, we stand here and we look at this. And I drove by here not too many weeks ago. Who's the foreman? Where's the foreman? This has gone up really quick. There you go. It was not that long ago that I was here and I thought, well, I can't wait to see it. Look at that. Fantastic. So this is an historic day in Mount Pleasant. I can't remember how long it's been since the last affordable housing project. I'm sure somebody knows exactly, but it's been a long time, and it's been a long time coming. And two things I want to say, and then I'll get out of your way. One is, it is not just a convenience. It's not just an amenity to have something affordable in the town of Mount Pleasant. That in itself would be enough. We have 4 millennial children in our family, and one has just moved back to town. It's hard. We know that as a family firsthand. It would be a shame to grow up in Mount Pleasant and want to stay here forever, the best town in America, and not be able to afford to live here. But the second is, this is a workforce issue. This is having a place for our workforce to live and work in the town of Mount Pleasant, and this is well suited for that. So it has to do with economic development, the viability of our community, and people being able to have a job in Mount Pleasant and live in Mount Pleasant and not have to drive over the bridge. Thank y'all for including us in this great day, and do thank your council members because they made it happen. Thank you.
And now I'd like to introduce a lady who does not need any introduction, Thomasina Stokes Marshall.
Good morning to everyone. I'd like to say thank you to everyone for coming out and supporting this wonderful cause. I can reflect back on probably about 5 years ago as I was leaving council. The need for affordable housing in the town of Mount Pleasant was something that stuck out in my mind that we needed to put more efforts behind. I approached our mayor at that point in time, who was Mayor Linda Page, and I put up such a fuss. She asked me if I would be willing to chair a committee to focus on affordable housing. Since I made so much fuss, I could not turn it down. So I agreed to chair it, and we put out a call for community residents who wanted to serve on that committee. And I'm so proud to say that we have a board for all affordable housing in the town of Mount Pleasant that is just untouchable. The folks who stepped up, the amount of talent, knowledge, and support that they brought to the table was thoroughly empowering to help us to get where we are today. So, Tony Berry and I, we have a relationship that probably goes back well over 10 years ago when he first was thinking about doing this development. And at that point in time, the relationship we formed continued. So when we talked, please hang up. When we looked at doing an affordable project, I reached out to Tony, and he was more than welcoming to help us in whatever way he possibly could. And as we look at the structure here today, this is the end results of our combined effort and collaboration. Something of this magnitude, no one entity can take it on and do it by themselves. So this is just a step, one step in the right direction. I believe with the town of Mount Pleasant's support, developers like Tony Berry and others, that we can move this momentum along. Mayor Haney stated a number of causes why we need affordable housing, so that we don't have all the traffic that's coming from Somerville and Monk's Corner and Goose Creek coming here to work, that's adding traffic to our roads. We have school teachers. We have employees from all of the hospitals. So this is a tremendous step in the right direction. And again, I tend to be long-winded, but I'm going to cut this short by saying thank you to all of you for your support. If we reach out to you and you have knowledge and experience that you can bring to the table to help keep us moving forward, we welcome it. Please do not be afraid or ashamed to reach out to us. Thank you once again for joining us this morning.
I'd like to now introduce a champion for Housing for All, Wendy Bowerschmidt.
Thank you. You never know until you ask. Many of you have probably heard those words from our last speaker and visionary catalyst, Thomasina Stokes Marshall. I have many times at our board meetings and on the many calls that she's taken giving me mentoring and guidance. Life coach Tony Robbins says, successful people ask better questions, and as a result, they get better answers. And I think the results of Thomasina's asking speak for themselves. The senior center with her name on it was because she asked for the land donation. And Housing for All, as she described, came together with a group of talented and engaged citizens with the best intentions for our town, asking to see what was possible to bring attainable housing to Mount Pleasant. I've had the honor and pleasure to work with the founding board for the past 2 years as executive director and now as a board member. With seed money from the town of Mount Pleasant, we set out to see what was possible. As a new not-for-profit, as you can imagine, we had a number of challenges. We were too young to receive most grant money, and that also made fundraising challenging. And then there was, and still is, COVID, and life as we know it changed. Our board members were challenged personally and professionally, often managing work and taking care of children and grandchildren. 2 of our board members, the legendary activist Louise Brown and Sally Jacob, our secretary and passionate advocate for seniors, as well as a fixture at town meetings, so that affordable housing and housing for seniors stayed front and center in all of our minds. They both moved closer to adult children as a result of the pandemic. And then in December, we lost our dear friend and board member, Kelly Price, a woman who dedicated her career to affordable housing. But through all this, the talents, time, and a good measure of pluck and determination on the part of all of our board members has allowed Housing for All to survive through these times, help realize a project, and continue to raise awareness and promote attainable workforce housing that is so important to the continued quality of life in our community. COVID's taught us many lessons. And one big lesson is that we are only as safe as our weakest links. And housing can be a very weak link. It's also taught us how important our frontline service workers are, from hospitals to supermarkets, those heroes who risked their lives to provide the services that allowed us all to stay healthy. Many of them are challenged to afford to live near or in Mount Pleasant. And this has strengthened our resolve as an organization to continue to be a catalyst for attainable housing in Mount Pleasant. Our founding board members navigated all of these challenges. And they've been announced, but I was asked to introduce them, so I'm going to do it again. Benji Cook, as our chairman and now chairman emeritus, using his talents for good. Benji's knowledge of most, if not all, of the land in Mount Pleasant and how land use works was a catalyst for this project that we are here to enjoy today. Chris Brooks, our vice chair until a few months ago and chair of the fundraising committee, spent a great deal of time and his vast network to fundraise to help Housing for All get its start, stay afloat, and participate in a housing preservation project, because preservation of the existing affordable housing stock is also an important part of our mission. And Sally Jacob, who has been a fixture at the town meetings and not letting any of us forget that affordable housing for workers and for seniors needs to stay front and center. And Leo Russo, our treasurer, bringing his experience at Waterworks and developing affordable housing in the past, as well as help with fundraising. Our other founding board members, Daniel Brock, Louise Brown, Thomasina Stokes Marshall, Michael Myers, Rodney Millette, Harry Smith, and Bobby Summers. I thank you. It's really been an honor and a pleasure to work with you. And now our current board, Benji Cook passed the torch with the goal of engaging a younger generation in our community. And Bobby Summers has taken over as our new chairman, and we're very excited with the energy and the commitment that he brings. Thomasina Stokes Marshall serving as secretary, Leo Russo as treasurer, and we have some new board members. Benji Cook remains. Morgan Behrens, who will be one of our first residents. Her father is here today because she couldn't make it. We're very excited. Alan Harris, who's in healthcare here in Mount Pleasant. Freddie Jenkins, who serves on the African American Historic Settlement Commission. Michael Myers of the Humanities Foundation. Rodley Millette, chairman of the board of East Cooper Medical Center in Lamsey. Russ Seaman of Seaman Whiteside. Harry Smith of Wells Fargo. Henrietta Woodward, the executive director of the Community First Land Trust, as well as our executive director, Denise Fugo. We thank you all for your dedication and your talents. Along with the great board, I dare to say in the most bipartisan of ways that it takes a village, or more precisely, in this case, a town. And there are many in this town that we would like to thank, starting with the town council for your support from the beginning and for voting unanimously twice in support of this project. And then town staff, planning department, Michelle Reed, Liz Boyles, Eric Demora and your team. You always make yourselves available to us and lend support, and we really appreciate it. I'd also like to recognize Raul Murdy, and particularly Daniel Monroe. Thanks to our board member at the time, Daniel Brock, Raul Murdy came on and provided pro bono PR services, and they still do to this day. And they've been a true partner in this journey, and we are extremely grateful. And I'd like to give a shout out to Steve Dudash and Donate to It that provided an early matching grant in some of our fundraising. So now the project that we're here to commemorate is a unique situation where the right property and the right partners came together with fantastic results. When Benji Cook saw this parcel on the market, he knew that the right party to see the potential was Tony Berry of Prosperity Partners. There's a saying, a rising tide lifts all boats. This project and the collaboration that developed between Housing for All and Prosperity Partners is a result of the integrity of Tony Berry and Tammy Wilson and their team. They don't just say a rising tide lifts all boats, they embody it. Now, I could spend a lot of time talking about the credentials because Tony and his partner Tammy each have a long list on their own. Tony's realized a variety of residential and commercial development projects here as well as in Charlotte. And Tammy brings an impressive career in community lending at a major bank, as well as consulting on affordable housing and projects using complicated programs such as new market tax credits and other grant programs. But it's their character and integrity that I particularly want to highlight because it's very unique and special. The generosity of Prosperity Partners in sharing a percentage of the sales with Housing for All will allow Housing for All to continue as a catalyst for attainable housing in our community. And I should mention that Carolina One will also be providing a donation with each sale. The project was originally conceived as 42 apartment-style flats. Then, just as we received the approvals, COVID happened. And lenders for that kind of project went away, as did many of the buyers, because common corridors became much less popular. We didn't know if the project would survive. But the Prosperity team found a way to make it work even better. And the true show of character is that they honored their commitment to pricing, to keeping it attainable, and to the agreement with Housing for All without renegotiating fees, even as the fees for approval increased significantly because we went through the process twice. And as many of you may know, construction costs keep rising because of supply shortages. And what we're doing here, providing an attainable for-sale project that is totally market with no subsidies or government support, is rare. And our goals are ambitious. A 75-year deed restriction to keep the townhomes affordable for the future generations is balanced with trying to help buyers get on the path to home ownership and build some equity and some credit for improvements that they make to keep the property up to grade. Working the details of these ambitious goals has been complicated. There isn't really a roadmap. And as a new organization doing this for the first time, we've had quite the learning curve. And Tony and Tammy have been with us every step of the way, dedicated to finding the best solution for all involved, because they really live a rising tide lifts all boats. I've had a long real estate career, and I can honestly say that collaborating with Tony and Tammy and the whole Prosperity team has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my career. I believe that what we're doing here is very special and will be a benefit to all involved now and in the future for the town. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce Tony Berry and Tammy Wilson of Prosperity Partners. For me?
We just want to thank both Wendy and Thomasina. This project would never have happened if it wasn't for their commitment and their passion and their courage. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Please join me in welcoming Tony Berry and Tammy.
Good morning. On behalf of the Berry Companies and Prosperity Builders and myself and Tammy Wilson, we are excited and humbled to be part of this event today. One thing about going fourth or fifth, if you had something to say and somebody said it before you, Wendy took my "it takes a village to raise a child" opening. So we're going to need to pivot a little bit, but the thought behind it is we a lot of times get way more credit than we're due because we just might be what you see from the front, but I'd probably, if I had you raise your hand, if you specifically were involved on the TBC and Prosperity Builder team from the very beginning to where we are today, I bet half of the hands would probably go up. I want to recognize people. I'm afraid I will leave people out, but I will tell you, everybody here that's been part of this team brought something unique and something that helps support the ability to build market rate, new construction, very high quality townhomes at 30 to 40 and rising discount between what the normal market would need to pay for that today. So for all of the team members that had some involvement, each of you, we sat down and we told you where our budget was, and you sat down and figured out how that your part could meet that budget. And we really appreciate that. We're pleased to say out of our first phase of 18, we are 100% pre-sold. Our lender, United Community Bank, is real happy to hear that. Over half of the current buyers are presently renting in town, and right at half of the buyers are first-time homeowners. So there'll be a number of buyers that hopefully this will be their first step to be able to create some net worth and some wealth. I'd love to read you just a few examples of who the first group of buyers are. As said earlier, Morgan Barron's our first buyer is an example of someone that was raised in Mount Pleasant, as I understand it. I think her father has worked with the town of Mount Pleasant for, I heard, 30, 35 plus years. And so his daughter, who was raised in town and has come back, was our first buyer. So an individual raised in this town is moving back and is going to be a homeowner. So glad to have Morgan with us. There's a assistant manager at Trader Joe's that just got relocated from Arizona. That's one of our buyers. We have 2 people that work at Costco. We have 2 special needs teachers. We've got a nurse at East Cooper, 2 more frontline healthcare workers, a worker at a local dentist office, a 6th grade teacher at Lang Middle School. I think it's working. So we'll, our team will be committed to getting these built. Hopefully by the end of July, 1st of August, hopefully we'll be moving in our first homeowners. I do want to thank Town Council, Mayor Haney, and all of Council for allowing us to pivot and come back again. And I do want to shout out to Eric DeMore and Town. We needed to get this thing closed by the end of the year. It had to have some permits, and the town was really helpful in making sure we got them what they needed for us to be able to get the project started first of the year. So with that, I'd like to recognize Tammy and see if there's anything she'd like to add.
Sure. Thank you, Tony. Thank you all for being here today. With these kinds of occasions throughout my career, it's always important for people to understand that this project isn't about highlighting any of us. This project is about highlighting the best of all of us. This work comes from a commitment from everyone, from Town Council to Prosperity Builders, Housing for All, and everyone, Carolina One, and everyone involved with this project, 2 core principles: that there is no us and them, there's all of us. So when we talk about community and the kind of community that we want to have, we want everyone to have access to the American dream of home ownership, simply put. And the second principle for us is that you find a way or you make one. So for us, and in partnership with the others who share this mission and this love for this town and this love for people and a commitment to people having a home and a place to call their own in a place that's growing and prosperous and where prices may rise, that we all care enough to make sure that everyone benefits. What's important for all of us to remember is that failure is not an option, and our goal and our desire is that this project will encourage others to do what we have done, right? We hope that very soon there will be another announcement about a workforce housing project in Mount Pleasant. So we thank you for the accolades. We thank you for being here with us today. But it's a celebration of all of us and what we can do when we care about each other, embrace each other, and we commit to finding a way or making one. Thank you.
I think at this time we'll introduce Will Jenkinson with Carolina One New Home Sales.
Thank you, Tony. Yes, it is quite an honor to be here today. I am fortunate to be a part of this team. I think it all started, or for this particular community, about 2 years ago when Tony and Benji and I all sat down over coffee one morning and said, let's try to figure this out. And that's when this property came up, and it's been quite a journey to get from 2 years, but there's been a lot of hands, like everyone said before me, to make this. And it goes back to Thomasina. And Benji said it well, all you need is that one name. And I can remember 20 years ago her being a big advocate for this type of housing. So I'm glad that she has seen her dream realized today. I want to congratulate Housing for All Mount Pleasant. It's been a pleasure working with them and Wendy and her crew. The town of Mount Pleasant has been instrumental. The staff behind the scenes, as Tony mentioned, down to the wire. I think we're down to like 2 days to closing when we got everything we needed to fund the loan. So appreciate them. I definitely want to honor and thank someone, and I hate they couldn't be here, but Allie Bring is our lead sales agent for this community and has worked tirelessly. She's actually in New York getting ready for her wedding, which is exciting. But she has worked tirelessly, like Tony said, just yesterday. We sold the 18th, so our first phase you see here today are all under contract. I also want to recognize Center Park Homes, the builder for these communities, and Josh has done a phenomenal job, and Jason and his entire team has worked tirelessly to get here today. So I appreciate their involvement. And, you know, a couple of stats. If you know me, I love numbers. A survey came out a couple of years ago about Mount Pleasant. It goes back to what Benji and Thomasina created, that task force, that 70% of the people who work, serve us in our town, take care of us, teach our kids, don't live here. And I think Gregorie, Ferry, as Tony mentioned, some of the buyers and their occupations, is a step in the right direction. But I also believe there's a lot of work left to be done, and I feel that we can create more of these opportunities in this town and surrounding areas in the Charleston community that need this type of housing. By a show of hands, I know we have some of you here today, but I would love to recognize those who are under contract to hopefully move in here in a couple of months. If you could raise your hand for home buyers who are with us today. And then I wanted to see if one of our home buyers is Corinne Woolley here today. If she is here, would she come up front if she's here? I'm not sure she was able to make it. I was going to embarrass her. Today is also her birthday. So we're thankful for Corinne and the rest of the home buyers today. I know, obviously, they're working, and we're in working hours. So they're doing their job to educate and protect us. I had the honor to introduce 2 council women who have done a phenomenal job in supporting our project and others like it. I'm proud to introduce G.M. Whitley, followed by Kathy Landing. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me here today. You know, when I first got on council, affordable housing was something that was a really big issue for me. I joined the Charleston Area Justice Ministry and made a commitment that I would do whatever I could as a member of council to support affordable and attainable housing within the town of Mount Pleasant. Through many meetings and many, educational experiences learning about attainable housing and affordable housing, I came to a sad conclusion. I started to get dejected. I said, it's not possible. It can't happen. The dirt in Mount Pleasant is just too expensive for something to happen. But you know what? Thankfully, I'm wrong, absolutely wrong. And this is proof of concept that attainable housing is possible in Mount Pleasant. And this is so meaningful to the people who are going to live in these homes. So I'm so thankful to be a part of it, that my vote can continue to count towards helping projects like this come to fruition within the town of Mount Pleasant and the surrounding communities. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kathy Landing, and Councilwoman Whitley and I were speaking right before, saying, wow, when you're this far down in the program, you could just get up and say ditto. But there's a particular reason that I think there's a few things I can share that are just a little different. The perspective of being our Economic Development Chair of Council, which has been a huge honor and a wonderful thing to work on for these last 3.5 years. And so let me start by saying that, like Councilman Whitley, I came on council, I ran because I wanted to solve problems. And one of the problems that was so evident, and still is, not only in Mount Pleasant, but in communities that are growing and thriving throughout the country, and that is the fact that the traffic congestion just continues to get worse and worse. So we wanted to try to do a combination of things that would add up to a lot without disrupting quality of life. In fact, hopefully greatly enhancing it. And one of those was slowing down growth a little bit with things like permit allocations. And I'm a free market person, so that made me a little uncomfortable. But the more I studied and the more I learned, the more I realized you can't keep growing as fast as we were if you're going to run out of room. And that's exactly what we had in Mount Pleasant. We have a beautiful, incredible community. I agree, the best in the state, in the country, maybe even in the world. And at least in our opinion. And but we had to do something so that there would still be space available, not only for businesses that wanted to come here and bring great high-paying jobs, but also for people that wanted to live here and live close to where they live. And oh, by the way, green space as well. How do you accomplish all these things? Well, one of them was to say, okay, we need to support workforce housing. And the idea came up on council, why don't we raise taxes, set aside money in a fund, do a referendum for a bond, buy land, and then sell it at a discount to developers who can then afford the land. And that was, Councilman Whitley was even referring to that whole problem. And I said, wait a second, let's take this a little differently. What if we have developers who can figure out through their own capital free market systems how to make it work? And what if we can simply do a few tweaks here and there? And that is one of the things that when Mount Pleasant Housing for All came about, that is one of the things that was able to be explored. Thank goodness for Tony Berry and his team, because they made it work as the first. And I'll never forget when we voted for the variance that was needed for this to come to fruition. And people said, with 25,000 plus cars every day going over the bridge, and you're trying to bring people closer to where they work so they can live and work in the same area, it was at that time 46 homes. 46 homes is a drop in the bucket. To which I quickly said, yeah, but for those 46 families, it means the world. And that's what we now have. Because of what's happened here today and because of what we'll see coming out of the ground, we have med techs and nurses and teachers and firefighters and policemen and hospitality workers and a whole lot of other folks who we desperately need, not only to be doing their essential jobs, although I believe all jobs are essential if it's yours, we also have those folks able to live closer. So we will see more things coming to council. We already know there's several applications headed our way soon. And believe me, I understand, and so does our whole council, how important this is. And one last thing I'd like to share. I have heard people say, you know, the way the free market works, you really ought to just let it go. You ought to just let it do its thing. I have seen too many communities. I've traveled quite a bit, and I've seen too many communities around the world, and even in our country many, that simply get so expensive that nobody can afford to live there except for the most wealthy and those who have retired from very expensive places. We can't have that in Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant has to be a place that includes all of our citizens and everyone who wants to work and live here as much as we possibly can. So we are dedicated to this, and we look forward to many more homes being built. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
I would just like to say thank you all for coming. We do have a sign-in book if any of you would like to sign in so that we can stay in touch. We need as many people as possible helping us. There are many more opportunities. In the state of South Carolina, 87,000 attainable homes are needed. So hopefully Mount Pleasant can be a part to help chip away at that need. We are now going to do, we're going to throw the dirt, even though the dirt's been moving for a while here. We're going to take our pictures with the dirt, and we do have some cookies here if you'd like to enjoy. And please reach out to Housing for All Mount Pleasant. We're so honored and happy that you're all here, and thank you for all the support you've given this incredible board over the years. Thank you very much for coming.